Hey everybody, it's Joseph Shepard, and welcome to our brand new show, Exposed After Dark, bringing in the old exposed mixed with a little bit of After Dark flavor. Today, we are going across the pond to Canada because I have the girlfriend experience with us.
Exposed After Dark with Joseph Shepard. Tonight's special guest, the girlfriend experience.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I am so good. I want to tell you to your face, when you got on Canada's Drag Race, I was the most hype. I was the most excited. I literally was like rooting the fucking house down for you. And then when you went on that poll, I brought my boyfriend and I was like, this is her. She literally is going to do it. And then when you were eliminated, I was broken.
Oh.
I know that you probably got into your head in some shape, form, or way, but I want to tell you, you have everything that you need. And I fucking love you for it.
Oh
like,
my God, you're
I
so
am the
sweet.
biggest fan of you. I
Thank
think
you.
that you are incredible. I don't say this to many people, but like, I was like, this is a star. Like, she's there.
Oh my
She's
God.
got it.
You're
She's
the
got
best.
it.
Thank you. It's been a whirlwind. And how
I can
appropriate,
imagine.
exposed.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So you get on to Canada's Drag Race
Yeah.
season 4. What was that experience like?
I loved it. It was hard. It was it's going to be definitely a staple in my life as like a very big growth and opportunity, like learning opportunity for me, not just in terms of like what I do for drag, but like my own inner peace as well as like my own self-confidence. It was like, I went onto the show maybe a bit too confident in like who I am and what I do. And I think during that time, I came out of a bad relationship. I just finished transitioning like surgically recently. And I definitely was not in the right headspace to be put on television, to be critiqued and like kind of like judged against other contestants. It was just like, it was difficult, transitioning it. Just like I was still living in my imposter syndrome and like trying to figure out who I was and like, yeah.
I've always wondered this because so many different girls have different answers for this question. But when you are a trans woman and you also are doing drag, do you differentiate between like who you are as an individual and who you are as your drag artist? Or do you feel like they are both the same thing for you?
There's a cohesiveness in, how both sides of myself like move together and live together. I think there's definitely times where the line gets blurred. Since transitioning, since the surgeries, there was definitely needed to like keep the two things separate in order to keep some sanity and some like
That makes sense.
identity that's separate because, who I am as a drag artist and my character, like the girlfriend experience, it is like a uber sexual, hypersexualized version of a woman or like of myself. And that's not necessarily how I like being portrayed all the time. And I think starting off, I definitely was like, testing the water, the steam out of the pot, so to speak, like, because drag was my way of, exploring gender when I wasn't fully comfortable allowing myself to admit who I was, you know? And so, there was a period of time where my drag was an extension of who I am and who I saw as the woman inside. I think as I grew into, moving along in my career, I was able to kind of differentiate who I am, find who I am as Berlin versus the girlfriend experience. And if you see me back home, I'm like, the girlfriend experience is blonde, at home, brunette.
Yeah.
I like to blend in, like nobody see me. I'm like a stealth girly at heart. I like to just not be present all the time.
You're like Hannah Montana.
Yeah, exactly.
Why did you choose the girlfriend experience?
I'm a romantic person at heart. I think there's a lot of things in my life that I love and want, and like a relationship and, someone to share aspects of my life with. And I think being trans, being queer, being so uncertain of who I am. I haven't been the most valid candidate to be in a relationship with someone. And I think a lot of people will say that I have a natural girlfriend energy about me. I'm very protective. I'm very nurturing. I like to take care of people. And a lot of my friendships, especially with like gay men, what trans girl doesn't have her fleet of gay boyfriends? And yeah, I think it just transpired over time. It's like I am the girlfriend experience. I provide the girlfriend experience. It's not so much who I am, but what I offer in a relationship, whether that be friendship or, more. And yeah, it just grew over time. I went to, before it was just Berlin, which is my legal name now. And it wasn't until I started traveling and doing gigs in the States that people started introducing me as a girlfriend experience, because that was my Instagram handle name. And then as I transitioned, it was like I started wanting that different, like, kind of separation between day me and night me. And for me, the girlfriend experience just was like so perfect to who she is and like who my drag character is, that I was like, this is her. There's no other name that I can change it to. It's just this.
I just love it because it can be multiple things. Like, you could take this name and you could be like, it could be an actual experience. It could be a TV show. It could be like whatever you want it to be. And I think that that's pretty cool. It's like very like all encompassing. Yes, I didn't know the word, how to say it, but yeah.
I think there's like a level, and I really love and respect sex workers. And I think that's something that like a lot of trans girls have had to like participate in. And I'm not going to say that I'm a saint and, or say that I haven't done it before myself, but it's like there's just something so true about it, and like, again, all encompassing with like who I am and my experiences and what I've, who I am and what I've done in my life, that it just hits perfect, at least for myself, and I hope for other people too.
What is your type? Like, let's say you're at a bar. It could be any bar you want it to be. And if somebody was to approach you, who would you want to approach you?
Like, are we basing this off of my like dating past, or like, I love like dark features. I love brown eyes. I love a wicked smile, like a nice, beautiful smile. I like tall and stocky, and I like a good personality. And if you treat me good, I'll rock the world.
I bet you would. So we're about to take a break. When we get back, you're going to spin this bottle, and we're going to play a little game, see what's going to happen. We'll be right back.
I wore an outfit on season 3 that was meant for Beyoncé on a music video. George Clooney played me in an espresso advert. I helped write lyrics for a very famous song that won Eurovision. My name's Choriza May, and this is my truth. George Clooney played me on an espresso advert.
I'm here with the girlfriend experience, and we're about to have an experience as she plays Spin the Bottle. But I do have to ask you.
Yeah.
Have you ever played Spin the Bottle? Like, did you play that in like slumber parties, sleepovers?
I did.
Did you have that?
Yeah.
Was it fun?
It was, yeah. I was I grew up a Jehovah's Witness.
Stop.
Yeah. Like,
so you were
fully knocking on the door and everything. So I was like, when I was spin the bottles, I would be like at parties that I'm not supposed to be at, and it would like land on a boy or something, it would be like, yeah. And I'd be like, well, I have to do it, but it's like not serious. So yeah.
Yeah. So you would knock on doors.
Oh yeah. Like, I had to get used to rejection real fast, unfortunately.
Hey, it was a great learning experience.
It was.
And you learned.
Did I?
I don't know.
I don't know. I took my rejection from Drag Race pretty bad.
Did you?
Yeah.
How so?
Oh, it was just like, it was like my self-worth was like taken away. I had like so little that I was holding on to on that time because of like how low I was in my life during that one thing that always brought me joy that I've never once doubted myself in was just like, slapped away from me for a bit. And it really made me like, I almost quit doing it. Yeah. I wasn't sure how I was going to be perceived or like what was shown. I only can base it off of my own experiences. And like, they did such an amazing job at like making me look better than what I had experienced emotionally and like in my own head during that yeah, once I actually saw the episodes, it really revived my passion and my like motivation to like keep doing it. It's a lot, especially with people staring at you all the time. And like you're in a room where just like it's quiet, you know, there's like cameras everywhere. But like I remember like when it was time to lip sync in that moment, because like whatever, I was in my head, I'm like, damn it, Melinda, you and your damn choreo.
Make your heart break, baby. Make your heart break. I can make you.
It is what it is.
And you're fucking thriving now. I feel like you're like on a good trajectory.
I feel like that too. I think with them making me look like with the way everything was edited and like the way it all came out, like I feel like they really do their best to bring the best forward. Like they use what you give them, and they do such a good job of like making sure that you like they see the best version of you. And I was worried about like how people were going to look at me, see me as a crybaby, and like, but they did such a good job at just like making sure that everybody is seen in the best light. And I think coming out of that, like I wasn't put in a situation where like I really had an opportunity to like put my foot in my mouth or fight with anybody. That like walking away from it, it's like, okay, everybody got to see a really good positive version of myself, or like, which is the only version of myself. But it really helped me out in the long run. And then I have a lot of friends from like other franchises that were just like so supportive of me before and like supportive of me afterwards. So I'm really lucky. This has been such a great experience. And I want hopefully call LA home at some point. I just love it here so much.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
All right, spin the bottle.
Spin the bottle.
Let's place in the bottle in the backseat.
What do we get? Pics from the past. Are you ready to talk about yourself?
Okay, let's do it.
So I am about to show you
Oh my gosh. Lol.
pictures of yourself from past times.
Okay.
And I would love to know from you what was going on in this moment. What's the tea? What's the story?
I can't believe you have these photos. It's so funny.
You ready?
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. That was my first time in New York. It was my first time being booked at a gig, like my first gig in New York. It was at Acme Bar. I found out I was doing the gig with Amanda Lepore. I was dying because trans icon. I was about just a few months into my transition at this time. And I just remember walking up to Amanda and her introducing herself to me and just how tiny she was. And in that moment, right after we took that photo, I was like, you know, weed was hard to find in New York. And I could smell weed and like strong. And at this point, I am like nicking out for the THC. So I turned to her, I'm like, do you smell weed? And she just giggles. And she's like this beautiful crystal purse. So she opens it, and inside it's like satin lined. There's only two things, like one huge nug of weed and her red lipstick.
Stop.
And it was the only thing. Like the weed wasn't busted. There was no papers. There was nothing else. Just like this giant nug of weed. And I was like, this bitch. And I knew she was a good one after that.
Literal icon.
Literal icon. I mean, I grew up. She was probably the only trans like figure that I had seen in my life up until, you know, Kylie Sonique was on Drag Race. And like, you know, I used to watch the Tyra show and she was on there and I was just like glued to the television screen. And my mom's like, get off, like turn the trashy TV off. I'm like, I love this. Oh, so that was right before, that was the last summer before I had all my surgeries, I believe. And yeah, it was a very beautiful shoot. It was shot by one of my best friends that I've been friends with for a very long time, probably like 13 years now. And it was like a documentation moment of my transition before I went into all my surgeries. And I would say that was probably the most beautiful that I'd felt in a very long time. I remember taking those pictures and just like, wow, you know, this is where I'm at because I came such a long way. And it was a full circle moment because this was someone who met me like when I was first kicked out of my home, you know, like shortly after I was homeless. And so it was like someone who was very near and dear to me. And there was a big group of us. We were all partiers, and a lot of them were like artists and photographers. And there was a few of us like girls, I guess you can say, that were kind of like the models for all the photos all the time. We were just like always vibing off each other and working off of each other. And yeah, he wanted to photograph me, and it was just like the photos just came out so beautiful, and they were for an art show. And at the time, that was the only thing that I had in myself, because I didn't really like doing photo shoots because I wasn't, you know, I didn't like the way that I looked and very self-conscious. But he really captured a moment of myself that I still have those photos hung up on.
I mean, they're
on my
gorgeous.
wall. Thank you.
You look gorgeous. When you look back at pictures of yourself pre-transition, how do you look at those? Do you consider those like a totally different person? You're like, now I am who I am? Or like, what do you see when you see old pictures of yourself?
Like, it's me. I know it's me, but in a way, it's like I just see someone that's passed on. You know, it's like completely someone who's dead, and like anyone that's passed, you know, you carry them in your heart, but like, you know, you don't have to hold on to them every single day in order to like know who you are. And for me, that like I have a hard time looking at some photos, not just because I don't like looking at myself as a man, but like oh wow, why am I getting emotional?
It's okay.
Because I see someone very sad.
Yeah.
You know, that just wanted to be happy and found a lot of very toxic, very sad, and like self-destructive ways to like make things, try to make things better for themselves. So I see a little sadness, a little happiness, because he's at peace now, and you know, she's thriving.
Yes. So, what about this little gorgy moment when you walked into the workroom?
I would say it was like for me, it was a very surreal moment. You know, I never saw myself as being on Drag Race.
Had you applied ever before?
I applied for season 2.
Okay.
I always wasn't sure if like my drag was something that Drag Race would be interested in or looking at or like having in the show. And so I wasn't going to apply. It was actually the last day before the audition like process, like the beginning of the process was like over. And I just did it last minute, and it just like, you know, worked in my favor, and I kept progressing. And I just remember being in, you know, going in there. First off, them telling me that I'm going to be walking to the front and then back and being like, what the fuck? Like, I want these bitches to see me, and I want to see the reaction. But then doing it, I was so nervous because there's just so many people there, and like they made me do it again. And so obviously I got in my head because I missed my mark, and I was like, oh, I feel like such a goof. But yeah, once I walked back after that, I could like smell Nira's perfume, and I like could tell because Venus was the tallest one there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was such a magical moment, very surreal again, just to like be in there. And that outfit was very difficult to wear. When I spin and I grab myself, it's to make sure that my nipple doesn't come out, because they told me, they're like, yeah, you're not going to get, like, people from past seasons are like, you won't get that much airtime if you're like always exposed, because they don't want to spend money on like censoring people. And I'm like, oh no, my nipple. And I was just that girl. Everything always fell apart on the show. Like, my boobs were always out, my outfits were always falling out, like one of my pussy lips were always like hanging out from the side, and it was just like so much.
Well, let's talk about another time where you were nude with Miss Amanda Lepore again.
Yes.
Okay, how did this even happen? What's going on?
Okay, so this was probably the 3rd or 4th time that I was in New York. I was back for gigs. At this point, it was like, yeah, I was really getting into I was like a bit into like the hormones and stuff. My breasts had just started growing, but like more so the nipples were just swollen and like rosebudding. And I guess I couldn't necessarily wait to see what I would look like, so I started making prosthetic breasts and a prosthetic vagina, like very like I DIY do it
DIY? Yeah.
and like taught myself how to do it. And I did it a few times in Vancouver, and this was like a 6 or 7 hour process to get ready, and it was Battle Hymn. And Lady Fag was, you know, throwing that party, and she's just like such a party icon, and she's from Canada as well, if I remember correctly. And I just like wanted to go so bad, so I went and I did this look. And I remember being there with my friend who came with me to support me. We went and sat at a booth. I didn't know anybody. I just kind of like went on my own. My friend went to like support me, and I went to see who I meet. And all of a sudden, one of the bouncers just came out of nowhere and was just like, "Excuse me, like, come with me." And I was like, "Oh fuck, is this outfit too much?" And then I got brought to the roped off area where like Amanda was, Lady Fag, and Amanda remembered me from last time, and I was just like so gagged because they were like, "Amanda wants you to come over here." So I was just like, you know, a little queer. You know, I look up to like the club kids of like the 80s and 90s. That's like, I grew up just so hyper fixated on that. And so for me, just like so gagged that I was in this like scenario right now. And it was just like such a powerful moment. I'm like, it was around this time where I started realizing that like when you start going out there and doing things for yourself or like putting yourself out there, like that's when you start receiving things.
Yes.
You know, when you just sit around and wait to, you know, get the gigs, go to the parties, like meet the people, network. It's like, it's not going to come to you unless you like go out there and do it. And I think that it really taught me that like anything is possible if you just put yourself out there, and like you got to shoot up and aim for the stars. And if you don't land on one, at least you know you landed.
I feel like you have 900 lives we don't even know about.
I've been through some things for sure. I've been around.
Well, let's take a break, and when we get back, the girlfriend experience is going to spin the bottle again. And we are back. I'm here with the girlfriend experience. Before we get into Spin the Bottle, I just need to take a moment to give props to Small Town Weirdo, who makes these beautiful jackets that I've been wearing each episode. So let's take a look at what's on the back today. Ooh.
Hand painted.
Hand painted.
Insane.
Right? Little New York, little Scream.
Let's place in the bottle in the backseat. I'll get
3.
Boom, 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 boom. So, are you ready for some after dark questions?
Okay.
Ooh.
Let's do it.
Do you have a sex playlist?
Yes, I do.
What's like a song on it?
To be honest with you, it's probably like all of like Caliuch's like music is on there.
Okay.
Yeah, Paloma. It's all Spanish. Yeah, like I love fucking to Spanish music. There's just something about it that really gets the hips going.
I mean, Shakira did say hips don't lie.
Exactly. Lucky for my breasts are small and humble.
So I thought that line was so funny when I was a child. I
Yeah,
was
me
like,
too.
Why are her breasts small and humble?
Why would I confuse them as mountains?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep my breasts are small and humble, so you don't confuse them with mountains.
Great lyricism.
Oh my God.
If you had a sex room, what would you want in it?
I love mood lighting, mood music, and by mood lighting, I like gamer lighting, like pink, LED, blue, like space lights everywhere, just like everything very flattering. Maybe a 360 lace wig, ghost bonded down would be nice, so I don't have to like, don't touch my hair, because I do like a little bit of a yanking. But other than that, just music and the right dude, and good to go.
What is something non-sexual that your partner can do to turn you on?
Cuddling always turns me on. Kissing always turns me on, but like nibbling on my ear really gets me
I'm the
going.
same way. I'm the same way. There is something about that.
Yeah.
It is like it sends a tingle through my body, and I'm like,
I don't know anybody though that it doesn't, because that's one of my go-to moves when I'm like getting with a guy. It's just to like lick their ear a little bit and just like bite their earlobe, and it's game on.
really?
Yeah.
I've done it multiple times. So I'll be like, okay, this is what I like, and I'll do it on somebody else, and they'll be like,
Really?
can you stop? I'm like, the feeling.
Oh, I love it. It sends shivers down my spine.
Yes. And it's like, oh.
Yeah.
And the last one I have for you are, what are the top 3 things that make someone great at sex?
Listening, social awareness, like, you know, awareness, like in terms of like being able to read cues and like, and adventurous. Someone who's adventurous.
I like that.
Yeah. I like someone that's willing to. I'm still so new to like having sex and stuff. I've only had like sex with maybe 3 or 4 people since I've had my bottom surgery. And like 1 or 2 that were like very consistent. And like the exploration of it for me is really fun right now. And so I do enjoy someone that's willing to like explore and have patience while I like learn what I like, because it's a very different ballgame.
Oh,
with
yeah.
the parts down below.
I love that. Like that's like the excitement too. It's like you're figuring something out for the first time. It's like, ooh.
It kind of feels like I'm, you know, like a teenager losing my I say losing my virginity again because like I don't know how it works and I had to relearn. And I was lucky enough to have someone in my life at the time that like I consistently had sex with and very adventurous, and he was my rebound, I was his rebound, so it worked perfectly. And you know, it was fun. I really got to try out what I liked, and I'm really excited to like try more things, you know, so we'll see.
What is your favorite thing to do after dark?
At nighttime, I love smoking weed and watching, like binge watching YouTube videos and K-dramas. And yeah, no, that's about it. That's what I really like to do. Yeah. What about you?
I love getting high. I love a good edible.
Oh, okay.
I love watching like really random things.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what it is. Like I love like a really bad movie. And what I mean by bad movie is like,
Showgirls.
oh, I love Showgirls.
So bad it's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the type of movies that I like.
Same.
I'm like, put that on, get me high, and I'll be like in heaven. Because no matter what the movie is, no matter how bad it is, there's somebody who came up with that concept and that idea. And sometimes you may need to see that concept and idea from a different light, meaning high. And then you're like, wow, I respect this a lot more.
Yeah, and sometimes you need to watch it like again in order to like really appreciate it. Like a good song, you know? Sometimes you're like, I know this will be good in a few listens.
Yes.
And then usually it does turn out that way.
I'll be like, oh, this wasn't good. And then it'll be like a day later and I'm like, okay, let me put this on repeat in my car for like 50 times in a row. And then I'll be like, okay, this is
You hear it enough times like in malls and like in stores that you're like,
have to ask for it for me to get it. When you see my ass in this, I charge credit.
okay, fine, I give in.
What's coming down the pipeline for you? Like what's coming up next? What do you want to happen? What's cool?
I have a lot of traveling coming up. I think I really got a good hand with the traveling gigs from my season and like how it all turned out. So kind of just like enjoying myself and like seeing the world. I think that's the most important thing to me is just like being a hot girl, traveling the world and like on other people's dime.
For me to get it. When you see my ass in this, I charge credit. Your dad drops stacks on
I'm going to Iceland actually, and then I'm going back to Germany. In November, they're changing the laws. So right now in Germany, you have to go you have to go through a bunch of hoops to like change your gender, and your legal name. And me living in Canada is just like going through the consulate. It's just like such a lengthy process. So I'm gonna go back to Germany November 1st. They changed the laws. It's like more of like a self-determining law, so I don't have to jump through any hoops. I can just go to like the city center and just like take care of like my name change and stuff. Hoping the name change will be easier, but I know my gender marker will be easy to change, so I can finally have my German passport and my like German identity match my Canadian one, and I can be a girl internationally recognized.
Are you German?
Yeah.
Was?
Yeah.
I took German for like 4 years.
In Deutschland geboren.
You said you were born in Germany. Right? Yeah. I could just be like, hallo, ich bin Joseph und ich bin 33 Jahre alt.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
33.
Yes!
It was good.
I tried.
When did you take German?
In high school. I really wish I would have kept going.
Yeah.
And like I downloaded, what do you call that thing?
Duolingo?
Yeah. I downloaded Duolingo, but then I'm like, oh, these are all words I know.
Yeah, I've tried learning things on Duolingo too. It doesn't really do
I'm like,
much.
why am I learning about like I want to eat an apple. I don't care about eating an apple.
I took Spanish in high school. I do not speak a lick of Spanish, and I go there I go to Mexico every year, at least twice a year. It's just one of those languages in one ear and out the other. It's like so beautiful, but like I can't comprehend the vocabulary structure. It's like so complicated for me.
How do you do more than one language? And now it's time for you to expose 2 lies and a truth.
Okay.
3 statements the girlfriend experience will tell the camera, but only one of them is true.
Okay.
And then in the next episode, we will reveal what the truth was. Are you ready?
I am.
All right, give it to me.
I dated a 90s rock star. I own and drive a motorcycle. And I used to have a Prince Albert that complicated my bottom surgery.
Oh. Well, on that note, we'll figure out what it is on the next episode. Until next time, I'm Joseph Shepard. You can follow me at Joseph A. Shepard. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, put your answer down below. What do you think the answer is? Let us know. Girlfriend, where can we find you on the socials?
You can find me on Instagram at the.girlfriendexperience. That's only the one I actively use, actually. So yeah, Instagram, the.girlfriendexperience.
Well, thank you so much for being here and
Thanks so
chatting
much
with
for
me.
having
I
me.
love
You're
you.
such a sweetie. I love you so much.
Until next time, I'm Joseph Shepard, and this has been Exposed After Dark.
Tonight's special guest.